home court for the Red Raiders. Their last win in Austin, you have to go all the way back to 1996. Texas, 21 straight here at the Irwin Center.
Yeah, and they know that history, I can guarantee it. So they don't, being Texas Tech doesn't want to be a part of that history. So expect them to come out extremely aggressive all night long.
Chris Beard in his second season at the helm for Texas Tech, 2-10 in true road games. They've only played 2 true road contests on the season thus far. Texas controls the opening tip. Coleman, Bamba, Febris, Sims, and Ositkowski, the starting 5 for the Longhorns. 3rd consecutive game. They go with that lineup.
With this starting lineup that Texas has, with Sims injected into it, they're basically just starting big. Texas is a lot bigger and longer than Texas Tech, and they can pose problems, which I would guess Texas will look to try to play a fair amount of half-court basketball because they have such a big size difference.
3rd season for Shaka Smart. His point of emphasis, let's go get a top 10 win to his team. And Lance, both of these teams very good defensively. Figures to be a good defensive battle on both sides.
Yeah, and they do it differently. Texas does it with Mo Bamba and covering up the basket.
Deep cast off. Naeem Stevenson, the senior from Dallas, Texas, averaging 7.6 per game.
Yeah, and Stevenson will have that kind of green light, as do all of the perimeter guys that Coach Beard gives his guys. So Texas will have to press up and play everyone as if they're scorers, because this team certainly allows for different guys to get looks.
Ositkowski get the contact and go to the line. And Lance, I heard you in the pregame show, you talked about the importance of Ositkowski, him being the engine for this Texas offense.
Yeah, I mean, you see the second play down, he has the ball on the block to make the decisions. They think that they being Texas coaches, think that he makes really good basketball decisions. So they like to put the ball in his hands, whether it's him looking to score, Ositkowski, or looking to find teammates in a scoring position.
There's 14 games in double-digit scoring. He played all 40 minutes in the loss against Oklahoma State. Texas Tech coming off that thrilling win over #2 West Virginia. 3-2 early on in favor of the Red Raiders. That one all air. Rebounded by Sims.
And with this lineup that Texas has, they should be able to control the boards pretty much for the better part of the night, unless Coach Smart decides to go with a smaller lineup. They should even come up with some offensive boards with this lineup on the floor.
Coleman on the drive over to Bamba, up and under.
Yeah, and that was created by the mismatch. Coleman did the right thing. Odiase got caught having to run out to Coleman. He did exactly what you're supposed to do, find the seams, and then he found the big fella.
The senior point guard, Keenan Evans, #12, was bringing the ball up, and Lance, you figure that to be a great matchup between Evans and Coleman tonight.
Yeah, that's a key matchup, and especially for Texas Tech, in that they need him to score and win the battle with Coleman. Evans has to have a good game for this team to have a chance at beating Texas at home.
Coleman off the turnover took the 3. Bamba missed the putback, but a whistle. Go back and look at the assist from Coleman.
Yeah, and you saw Odiase running out to Coleman, and that was because a switch occurred. That switch occurred. Left Bamba around the basket for the easy finish.
Brandon Francis, the redshirt junior, will check in. You see the numbers from Matt Coleman. Coming off a 9.5 assist, but 4 turnovers game against Oklahoma State. Leads the team in minutes played for the true freshman from Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, with Davis just coming into the game, he's had the hot hand of late for this Texas ball club, and he is a key component, especially when he gets going early. If he makes his first 1 or 2 shots. Look out.
Deep pass in all the way back to Coleman. Had a great conversation with Eric Davis yesterday, and he attributed his recent success to the maturity that he's gained over the years. Last year being a setback year for him, self-admitted.
I thought he became a victim of his own success from his freshman year, where the expectations weren't really high, but he really lit it up and had a great season.
Coleman off the glass, but controlled the rebound by Jarrett Culver, freshman from Lubbock, Texas. Red Raiders high on Culver. Another three-pointer. That is Culver, highly recruited from Coronado High School, averages just under 10 points per game. Shoots 37% from 3, so 2 3-pointers from Texas Tech early on.
Yeah, and Culver is one of the promising freshmen for this Texas Tech ball club, part of their future. And also, again, they don't know where they're going to get it night in and night out for Tech.
And there's Eric Davis. Last 2 averaging those 20 points per game. He's shooting 60%. He had 15 points in that first half against Oklahoma State, but only 3 in the second. Good to see him with the early bucket.
Yeah, and Texas is doing a good job offensively of taking advantage of these switches that are occurring on the defensive end.
Another 3. Culver misses. Sims with the rebound.
Texas should all but take care of the boards and finish off defensive possessions again because of all the size that they have on the floor.
Davis back to Bamba from deep. And to your point, Lance, right there, Osakowski with the offensive rebound.
Yeah, and then you've got Bamba taking the 3, so you've got another big away from the rim. Advantage goes to Texas when that happens.
And that was a point of emphasis, both coaches telling us earlier that rebounding would be key. Osakowski, the corner 3.
Yeah, with Mo drawing double teams like that, you just got to find the open areas. You should get a lot of open looks.
Tech on the break, contact. Zaire Smith, the freshman, draws the foul. Slow scoring early on, couple 3-pointers. Culver on the board for Texas Tech, and Eric Davis with 2. 6-6 here in Austin. Tyler Denning, Lance Blanks, and Lance, you had mentioned it, that defensively, these two teams, 2 of the best in the country with their efficiency in holding teams to low scoring, but they do it in different ways.
Well, yeah, Texas does it primarily through Mo Bamba. I mean, he's one of the best shot blockers in years because of his length and timing and ability to cover up that rim. And then contrarily, Texas Tech just really gets after you with perimeter pressure all over the floor, and they play smaller lineups like you see on the floor now, so they can apply that pressure.
Big rebound
40 minutes.
Texas Tech. Evans gets a look at it, but Longhorns control another rebound. Jacob Young has checked into the game. When you talk defense, the big news before the game, Texas will have Kerwin Roach available, returning from that left hand injury. So their best perimeter defender, as Young called for the push-off.
Boy, and that's an example of the kind of defense that this Texas Tech ball club plays. There you see Roach. Be interesting to see if Texas plays him. They may need his defense because of what Evans can do on the offensive end.
And that was Evans, the senior, drawing that foul. Davide Moretti, the freshman from Italy, now controlling the point for Texas Tech.
And Moretti, he will look to shoot threes, not afraid to launch. Texas will have to guard him from beyond the arc. Good job by Bamba moving the feet.
Hamilton thought about it. Gray will take it off the dribble. Justin Gray, the senior from Tampa, Florida, one of 5 seniors on this Red Raiders team. At one point in the season, starting 5 seniors in their lineup before the injury to Zach Smith.
Yeah, and the loss of Jack Smith is huge for this team, but they've done a great job of coming together. When you've got seniors, guys like Gray, who can also score the ball enough and put it on the floor, you can make up at some level for a loss. like a Zach Smith. Again, you're not going to totally replace him, but you can come together as a team and guys can step up with their role and potentially make the difference.
Osikowski was working off the block, tripped up and loses control.
I mean, there's an example. Gray gets the ball and brings it up off the boards. They have so many guys that are interchangeable just because of the size that Texas Tech plays with.
Lawrence Odiase, he is a handful. Figures to be a great matchup. 2 blocks from Mo Bamba winning it right now. You had talked about it defensively. That's where Texas hangs their hat. Mo Bamba averaging 4.4 blocks per contest. He's one of the best in the country.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Odiase is not going to be able to shoot that ball over an outstretched Mo Bamba. And that in and of itself tells you one of the tells of this game, in that Texas Tech is going to have to get it done on the perimeter with Mo Bamba on the floor.
Bamba's second in the NCAA in blocks per game. Lance, what are you seeing on the offensive end? Texas has gone quiet. More of that needed?
Well, and they've done it. Texas has around the rim for most of the night, whether it's been layups or bigs, getting it done on the block. So we're not talking about a hugely fast-paced game, in that Texas is going to be throwing the ball inside to those bigs and trying to get easy looks. They have the advantage there in the front court.
Stopped a 3-minute and 10-second drought. See Roach in there, bothersome already. Bamba controls the rebound. Head to Davis.
Good ball movement.
Roach will work off the dribble. Coleman up and under.
Well, that was really good patience and ball movement by Texas. Anytime you have a defense that has to play for that long, it becomes more and more difficult to get a stop, especially if the ball is changing sides of the floor, as it did on that offensive possession for Texas. Excellent offensive possession.
Back into the lead at 10-9. Thrown away. Jarrett Culver turns it over. Timeout on the floor. And Lance, exactly what you were talking about, the ball movement. Erwin Roach, the assist, Coleman with the finish.
Well, yeah, just the bringing together of everyone. I mean, just the love and support this young man, Andrew, and what he's experiencing has just been nothing short of phenomenal to watch and see.
Our thoughts are with him and his family and his fight.
Yes, they are. Thoughts and prayers.
10-9 early on. Figured to be a defensive matchup. Texas with the turnover, something that's bothered them the last 2 games. But good defense. Coleman coming back and tapping that ball out of bounds.
Excellent run down there by Coleman, not giving up from a defensive standpoint. You certainly don't like the turnover pass, but neither one of these teams, Tyler, want to give up easy baskets.
Well, and Keenan Evans, who you saw lose that ball out of bounds, averaging 17.5 points per game. That's 3rd in the Big 12 right now, sitting on 0.
Yeah, taking care of the ball is just, it's a key, especially in a lower scoring game like this and the way these two ball clubs like to play.
There's Evans.
Every possession is critical.
Preseason all Big 12 player, was a 3rd teamer. Has a good case possibly if he keeps up his play for Conference Player of the Year, and now he's on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and Hamilton just came in the game for Tech, but you saw they vacated, or Hamilton vacated the paint to create enough space for Evans to get isolation. So Coleman has got to sit down, stay in front of him, and potentially get some help. Evans can score as well as anyone from that spot in this conference.
That's the first points in the paint on the contest for Texas Tech. They have 2, Texas with 8, so controlling the painted area right now. Coleman gets another one. Good start for the freshman, Matt Coleman.
Yeah, with Mo Bamba going to the floor, now you're going to get another, or need another, scoring anchor, if you will. You've got Osakowski, but Coleman can certainly provide that with his ability to drive the ball.
Another rebound for Texas. This one controlled by Roach. Osakowski off the dribble on the fadeaway.
Yeah, and I think Osakowski can really exploit Hamilton a little bit more. I think he bails him out when he shoots a fadeaway off the dribble.
Naeem Stevenson was on the drive, but Jericho Sims there to bother and cause the turnover. Texas showing that the rim protection, not just Mo Bamba, Sims getting in on it.
Yeah, if you like offense, you may not be happy, but both of these teams are extremely good defensive ball clubs. Texas, especially because of their length and athleticism, as you saw there.
Royce Ham Jr. will check in, number 5 for Texas. Longhorns 7th in defensive efficiency in the country. Texas Tech 3rd. Part of the reason why it's 12-11 here with under 10 to go in the first half. Bamba, no good on the jumper, and the whistle. Foul is on the floor.
Man, you get Bamba in the game for Osakowski. He shoots almost the same shot. And Osakowski's shot, and I don't think they have to do that, given the length and size advantage he has over Hamilton. There you go. There you go. Attack the feet. Attack the feet. I mean, you juxtapose those two shots. You get two big shooting fadeaways, and then he attacks Hamilton's feet and ends up with a big-time dunk.
See a little defense there as well, switching on the screen, poke the ball, bothering Evans. One pulled down by Ham.
Well, I love where Texas is getting these defensive rebounds and closing out these possessions. Texas Tech only 2 offensive boards thus far, 1 off a free throw. Good job by Texas, who's just closing out every defensive possession.
Coming off the screen up to Bamba. We talked about it in the pregame show, the offensive arsenal and what Bamba could benefit from in playing with a point guard. Seen it link up a couple times, Coleman to Bamba, as Texas carries the offense over to defense.
Yeah, and you got Coleman feeding Bamba and using that length to his advantage. No one's close to his size. First you attack the feet, and you end up with the big-time finish. You see it, I mean, the lane was parted like the Red Sea.
Lance, would you like to see more of that with Bamba going off the dribble and going against a bigger defender? Obviously, it seems a little quicker there.
Well, I'd like to see him around the rim more just because he has an advantage with his length and size. However he gets there, that's on him. But here's another example, and when he draws a double team, he can just do that, find teammates. But it's okay also to repost.
Whistle blown. Texas on a 6-0 run over the last 2:39, and a big reason for that, Mo Bamba.
Yeah, the big fella's been huge. He's tacking the feet, Tyler. Oh! Mini run going for Texas.
It's to dunk it. Our In the Net brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Mo Bamba.
Big fella has done a great job here early of using that length to get a lot of work done around the basket.
6 points for Bamba, 3 rebounds. Texas on a 6-0 run. It's been a 3-minute and 18-second drought for Texas Tech. Jacob Young picked up the foul, and that drought will end with the free throw from Keenan Evans.
Yeah, and Texas Tech won't be quiet for long. I mean, Coach Beard has just done a great job of getting the kind of guys in short fashion, too, pretty quickly, the kind of guys he wants. He did a great job already. He's got a young man, Deshaun Crew coming from South Plains Junior College, about 6'6", as well as Kyler Edwards from Finley Prep. In Vegas, you have a young guy, so he gets young and old and does a good job of mixing them, as you see with this roster, and just really digs into the defense and puts them in position to be able to compete at a high level in the Big 12.
4-point advantage for Texas. One thing Texas Tech doing well, they have 7 points off turnovers. Texas did turn it over there, but reciprocated by the Red Raiders.
Well, I think Texas has done a nice job here early at coming right back at Texas Tech. We saw Evans scored early. Then Coleman came right back and scored. Texas gets a turnover and then steals one or forces a turnover. So they're doing a good job of matching Texas Tech's intensity.
Bamba will put it on the floor again. Back down, double comes. Good ball movement. Roach.
Well, that was a similar possession, and you saw Bamba tried to attack the feet on that particular possession, but ended up drawing a double team. Great ball movement. Roach gets a nice jumper from the corner.
First 3 on the night for Texas. They are 1 of 5. Texas now 3 assists on their 8 made baskets as the lead climbs to 7. Francis off the dribble. Woo! Brandon Francis from the Dominican Republic, a transfer from Florida. He was actually recruited by Billy Donovan, redshirted there. And Chris Beard having a relationship. Billy reached out. That's how he ended up in Lubbock. He's coming off his season high against West Virginia. Go back and look at Texas sharing the ball.
Well, here, this is a similar possession we saw earlier. It ended up in a dunk. Bamba did a great job of taking his time. He baited the double team and moved the ball. And then, of course, Texas Tech punches back with Brandon. It's a nice jump shot. And as you mentioned, he had a big game against West Virginia.
17 points in that contest.
And again, you see how these guys get moved around. He's basically running point now. Have a lot of perimeter guys that are about the same size. They force you to have to make serious basketball defensive adjustments because of the similar size, and guys can share the ball on the perimeter.
4 on the clock. Moretti casts off. That one, a shot clock violation.
And that's just an excellent defensive possession by Texas. And when you can force that kind of shot from a team as good as Texas Tech, you've done your job. Can't get much better than that.
Chris Beard mentioned one of the keys, shot selection for his team. As you see, Zaire Smith, the freshman from Garland, Texas, checking in, and Texas winning that one with their defense. Coleman dropped the double, dribbled out of it, and the foul goes against Moretti.
Yeah, and Zaire Smith has really come on here for this Texas Tech ball club. I mean, he's one of the young, promising freshmen, and he's a little undersized for the position he plays. He can play multiple positions, very strong, but you know, he can play really 2 through 4 for this Texas Tech ball club.
Osakowski back in as Royce Ham Jr. sat down. Febris, Roach, who will take it to the hoop. Sims and Coleman on the floor for Texas. Fast break for the Red Raiders. That ball tied up.
Yeah, and this is where Texas has excelled. Even though Texas Tech doesn't score a ton of points, they do like to create offense through running the ball. And Texas has just done it. I can't remember the last time I saw a run out, or as you like to call them, you call them pick six, don't you?
Pick six. Yeah. Off the turnover, going the other way.
We saw one earlier that Coleman came and ran down and tipped the ball out of bounds. Guys like Evans and Smith and Gray, these guys like to get those runouts and get layups for Tech and get in the offensive rhythm. And so far, Texas has done an excellent job of preventing easy baskets.
Look at the defense. Sims pestering the inbounds from Evans. Step back. Another rebound for Texas. This one from Osakowski.
You know, won't show up in the box score, but credit Sims for moving his feet and contesting that jump shot.
Coleman gets in, but kicks out over the head of Roach. Assist to turnover ratio for Coleman, 2.36. He had 1 or less over the first 9 games in terms of turnovers, but he's averaging 3.6 over the last 9, but maybe just product of teams getting the book on him and getting into conference play.
Well, a lot of that, yeah, the pressure and getting into, you know, the most difficult and challenging conference in the country.
Is there any doubt about that?
Oh, no, it's easy. That's easy.
4 teams in the top 10 for the Big 12. Texas turns it over. Bamba poked it away. Coleman in transition off the glass.
A nice job of, and again, hats off to defense, turning that defense into offense. Don't get stopped. You take it all the way to the rim, which is exactly what Coleman did. Beautiful
Feed inside. The pump fake got Bamba off of his feet. And one for Brandon Francis.
Yeah, Texas taking a page out of Texas textbook, turning defense into offense here. No one stops him. Maybe could have taken the hit. And here you'll see Bamba goes up. Go ahead and foul him. You do not want to let the ball get above the shoulders of the offensive player if you're going to foul him around the rim.
The redshirt junior, mentioned transferring from Florida, did Brandon Francis, but that's how high this coaching staff was on him, that they gave him a scholarship, let him sit all last year, but they were really looking forward to having him on the court. Looked like Mo caught an elbow up top, maybe on the chin. Tech has missed 3 free throws. Longhorns perfect thus far, 2 for 2. Approaching the 4-minute mark. Beautiful look inside, off the glass, and one.
On the catch. Oh!
Whistle goes the other way.
Wow. I thought maybe there was a foul on the catch. But certainly, I don't know that I saw that. Wow. I think you have the right to land if you catch the ball in the air.
It looked like a travel call is what that baseline official gets Osakowski on. So the basket negated. Working off the dribble. Kicks out to the corner. Big offensive rebound for the Red Raiders.
And you don't want to start a pattern there with giving Texas Tech second chance opportunities.
Stevenson controls. Work on Febris, loses the dribble. Odiase back cut to Francis with the finish.
Yeah, and both of these teams play man-to-man defense, and that's created by having most of the offensive players lifted up high, and Bamba having to guard the big. Got to put a little more pressure on that pass.
Francis with the last 7 points for Texas Tech. They cut the lead to 2. Roach missed completely on that one. Evans will go into the big. Odiase works on Bamba. Smith to Stevenson. Bamba with the rebound.
Yeah, this last 2.5 minutes of the half, extremely important.
Roach and one. So Texas thought they had one from Osakowski. It was a travel. Kerwin Roach puts it on the deck and one. Longhorns leading 23-19.
Since getting his finance degree in 1968, he had a
Great pass to Jericho. Crossover kick, Davis. Yes! Kicks it to the corner. Osakowski hits! Grazianski to Robinson. Back to Grazianski. Got it! Fisher. No! Andrew Jones, that one's for you.
Well, it was incredible 1 week ago today here at the Irwin Center. That game between TCU and Texas. We'll have a longer look back at that contest at halftime. But Lance, here in Big 12 play, you figure to have a lot of games like that.
Well, yeah, they're all going to be battles simply because we talked about it here earlier. You just got so many great coaches, great players, and great teams, guys that play well together. Even like this Texas Tech team, you know, when you put them apart or pull them apart individually, you go, okay, but when you pull them together or put them together, this is one heck of a team, as good as any in the country so far this season.
Kerwin Roach converting the and one. He has 5 of the last 6 made field goals for Texas. Field goal attempts, excuse me. Eric Davis coming on in his spot. Texas looking like they're going a little zone here.
Yeah, here for the first time that I can remember, both of these teams are playing a lot of man. They're going to force Tech to do just that, make shots.
Jarrett Culver.
That's what Culver does. He knocks down.
5 points
Shots
thus
from the
far for
perimeter.
the freshman Culver. 3-point lead for Texas. We're under 2 to play in the first half. Osikowski with space. Nails the 3.
Yeah, just really big and strong, able to shoot over Francis. That's what created that space. But I think this lead right now is a function of not only the defense, but keeping Evans quiet. He only has 3 points for Texas Tech. And to me, that's where the battle begins and ends for this Texas Tech.
Bamba off the rebound. This is the shot. Rebound controlled by Keenan Evans.
Texas staying loyal with this 2-3 zone.
Offense is run through Francis, at least scoring-wise, here in the first half for Texas Tech. Under a minute left.
You got a 6-point lead here. You want to close this out efficiently and with some momentum. Every possession is critical. It's Texas Tech. You're just not going to get a ton of them.
Davis Jr. off the glass. Quiet first half for Evans, finding Francis, who's good. He's been the go-to guy offensively.
And he can do it. He showed it against West Virginia. He can shoot the ball, and he can put it on the bounce a little bit as well.
Game-high 10 points for the redshirt junior Brandon Francis of Texas Tech Longhorns will get the last shot of the first half. Coming up for Bamba. Puts it home. So Texas ending it emphatically with a Mo Bamba dunk.
And ending it with length. That's what makes him so special. Under normal circumstances, no way somebody could finish this. That's called a fadeaway dunk. For those of you who haven't seen one of those, watch him. There's no play there. Guess what? I'll create one as I fade away.
Texas being paced by Mo Bamba with 8 points. Matt Coleman with 6. Brandon Francis leading the Red Raiders with 10. 29-24 as we go to half. After the break, we'll be back with the LHN halftime report and take a look back at that TCU-Texas double OT thriller.
From beyond the arc. And I think if Texas can keep Evans quiet, or Coleman can keep Evans quiet, more importantly, or match him offensively, it really gives the University of Texas a great chance to come on up top and win this game.
Longhorns have done that 21 consecutive times here in Austin against Texas Tech. Last time that the Red Raiders came into Austin and won, you'd have to go back to the final game as Southwest Conference teams opponents. That was in 1996. We had some trivia earlier today. The #1 song on the charts at the time. You remember?
I do. I remember which. Well,
you remember the
of course
dance.
I don't know how to say it.
We'll release it later.
Okay, you go, don't go, stop. Do you remember?
That's what you did in this song.
Yeah, but
doing the
yes,
dance.
of course I remember.
Tyler Denning, Lance Blank, second half, big one in the Big 12. 2-3 in the conference is Texas. Foul drawn by Kerwin Roach, who is back into the lineup for Texas after missing 2 games. Longhorns 6th in the conference. Texas Tech 8th in the country. 4-1 record in Big 12 play. They are in 2nd place, so big implications for this one. Odiase drawing his 2nd foul, and Roach will shoot 2.
And Texas, they've done so many things well thus far in this game. One that I would add, besides not giving up layups, really haven't seen that many real runs from Texas Tech. No explosive runs where they can get a lot of confidence going for themselves offensively or defensively.
The lead changed 5 times in the first half. Texas Tech, no fast break points. Texas with just 2. We figured it would be a defensive battle. It was one of the things that Coach Shaka Smart was worried about from the Longhorns. Texas Tech and their ability to put you into scoring droughts. Longhorns have done well so far, and they've also kept that guy at bay. 3rd leading scorer in the Big 12, the senior Keenan Evans, who struggled. Longhorns have had the answer thus far defensively.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. He's obviously key. I mean, he's the one consistent scorer, leading scorer for this ball club, and then they feed off and around him, and then it could be anyone after that. I mean, Zaire Smith's had some big games. Of course, we talked about Francis. Texas has just done a masterful job thus far of keeping the lead dog and Evans quiet.
Well, for Evans, he's 2nd in the conference in free throws attempted, 2nd in free throws made, and thus far he's only been to the line twice. So Texas controlling Evans as they pick up the 3rd foul on Odiase. So 2 quick fouls here to open up the 2nd half. That'll sit down Odiase. He's their physical enforcer. Sat out all but 3 games last season, really focused on improving his body. Sims hits the deck, finds Roach. Good from the corner.
That's huge, that 3, because that gives Texas a 10-point lead.
Biggest lead of the ball game for Texas at double digits.
Yeah, and those 10 points in a game like this, I mean, that's like a 15, 16-point lead in a normal game, in that teams that typically score a lot more than these 2 do.
Texas continuing the defense. Tough shot with 2 left on the shot clock. Zaire Smith buries it, who's inserted into the starting lineup the last 2 games. Filled the stat sheet against West Virginia. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2.
Texas Tech has come out of that aggressive man they typically play.
Into the zone look, shooting over the zone. Osikowski, rebound for Smith.
Yeah. And you don't have to settle for 3s and jump shots just because they're in a zone. You can still look to get in the seams, create opportunity, and use your size against this Texas Tech ball club.
Stevenson's will work off the dribble. He draws the whistle. 2nd foul going against Jericho Sims.
I mean, with the exception, really, of Evans. No, let's see. After Evans, Texas is either bigger or longer.
Justin Gray will sit down. Jared Culver will check in. Freshman Culver with 5 points. Francis in as well. He's the hot hand the first half.
Coach Beard opts to go with guys that can score here early because he doesn't want this game to get away from him. Smith. Yeah, they need stops, but they also need some points to be manufactured.
Smith tried to drive. He was met by Jericho Sims, thrown back, but Coleman taps it out of bounds. But Texas has just been there repeatedly on the defensive end thus far. 10 on the shot clock. Francis on Roach. Kicks out for Hamilton. Rebound to Coleman. Tough shots for Texas Tech. Not finding any easy looks. Sims with the entry. The double comes. Bamba tried to pass out.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before, about when you win games, and you talked about it just now with Texas forcing tough shots for Texas Tech. But you've got to do both, meaning you have to stop on the defensive end, but you've got to execute. Texas, you get the errant three, Mosikowski, and then, of course, the turnover now from Bamba that Texas was able to recapture.
There's a steal by Kerwin Roach. How about Roach? Looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Saw the corner three from him, a couple of very good drives. Always get the defense from the junior Roach. The second thrown up for Bamba.
Wow. That's another example of you don't have to settle for threes when you've got the length that you have versus this Tech team. You've got to use it to your advantage and get easy looks.
Davis on the contest there. Red Raiders able to get the offensive rebound. Poked out by Roach. Another steal. Roach loses his shoe.
Came right out of his shoe.
Assist from Mosikowski to Roach. Texas will throw it up so he can get his KDs back on.
And Texas getting just about anything they want around the rim.
Davis going to get caught on the push-off there. Had the right arm. Offensive foul. Let's go back to the alley-oop. Seen this a couple times.
Well, yeah, and Texas Tech actually kind of did this to themselves. Evans, you see, pushes Coleman away from the screen. Coleman had a straight line drive, forcing Hamilton to have to come help. Did the right thing.
You remember that famous picture of Dwayne Wade throwing the alley-oop to LeBron James? You see Matt Coleman on the celebration there? He looked just like it with the arms out.
Great call. He knew what was happening. Yeah.
But we've seen that repeatedly. That's a go-to offense. You talked about it. I have to go back to the pregame show. But what you can do to open up Bamba offensively, playing with that point guard and Coleman, those are just easy money for the duo.
Yeah, with his size and length.
Balders Gray with that length there defensively can do so again on Evans, who's just very frustrated. Another tough look for Texas Tech. Roach to the rack, calls the foul.
Yeah.
So the two true freshmen teaming up. Matt Coleman finding Mo Bamba. Just toss it up and let the big guy get it. Texas leading 36-26.
Shaka Smart's got the game plan.
Can you get your guys that are your best scorers shots in the right spot?
Bamba! Oh, my goodness!
Coach dishes on the players.
We're going to need Snoop to step up.
Look at the rope.
Then he breaks down the playbook.
The reason we play 5-on-4 defense is exactly this.
Plus, some good old Texas foes.
That was the last time Texas Tech won here in Austin back in 1996. Also the last time that they were ranked this high. Let's go back to 1996, the highest grossing movie. Will Smith, Independence Day, and the biggest hit single, the Macarena. Lance, could you do the Macarena if you had to?
Absolutely not.
Good, me either.
Did it involve dancing?
I don't know if they'd call it that. 24 players on the rosters of these two teams had not been born yet. Kerwin Roach makes his first free throw. 96 was a good year.
96 was a great year.
I was more Wu-Tang Clan and maybe Tupac, Snoop Dogg. That was, no Macarena for me. What were you listening to in 96?
I was in Europe, so there's no telling what I was listening to, frankly. I have no idea. Whatever was playing over there.
In Europe?
Yeah.
You might have done the Macarena, you just don't remember.
Yeah, they might have been playing Michael Jackson back then.
Tyler Denning, Lance Blanks. Texas looking for win number 3 in Big 12 play. Texas Tech currently ranked 2nd in the conference, 8th overall. And they need to find more of that on the offensive end.
Well, in Texas, this is an area of the game where Texas actually has done well. And as it's gotten closer to the under 10-minute mark is where they've struggled in games that they have struggled. So this game far from over. Texas has to remain to have a level of concentration and focus and execute on either end of the floor.
Osikowski working on the smaller Francis. Kiss off the glass with the left.
Yeah, it's just size difference. Nice left hand. Texas doing a good job of play calling and creating isolation situations. You don't want to get in a situation, though, where you're just exchanging baskets, because now Texas Tech potentially gets its confidence. They are second in this conference for a reason. It's because they are a good ball club.
And Evans with just his 5th point. Keenan Evans, number 12 for Texas Tech, the 3rd leading scorer in the Big 12. So that's a key. Can Texas continue to keep him quiet? Pull up. Does not get the roll. Texas with the rebound. Coleman to Bamba. Foul called on the floor. Let's go back and look at the play from Osikowski.
Yeah, that's an isolation. There you see the floor is spread, and he attacks. And then something that Texas Tech does so well as Evans cuts is pass the ball. This team is a willing passing team, and they play together just about as well as anyone in the country. You're open for Texas Tech and you cut, you're going to find the ball in your hands.
Texas gets the offensive rebound. Coleman there amongst 3 Texas Tech players will have another chance on the possession. Coleman has 5 assists. 4 of those have gone to Mo Bamba.
Yeah, and they're trying to get an isolation with Osikowski because he's got Evans on him. Now they switch.
Looked like a head nod from Osikowski to swing it to the other side. 3 from Jace Febris.
Yeah, Febris can really shoot the ball. Has struggled at times confidence-wise at the very good Baylor game, but fell off and had some plays where he struggled.
It's 4 for 6 against Baylor, a career-high 18 points for the true freshman. Over the last 3 games, just 9 of 21.
Another late shot clock situation.
Up and under and staying with it, Jared Culver.
Yeah, Culver again.
Taps his own miss in.
The nice freshman there for Texas Tech. Texas has got to close out the possession by getting the rebound.
Lentz, it feels like pace is picked up in this one. Does that favor either one of these teams?
Well, I think if pace picks up, it favors Texas Tech right now because they need possessions. I think the longer this game goes where they're exchanging baskets with Texas, the better for Texas Tech, simply because they need a rhythm and to manufacture points. Febris, as you mentioned, knocked down the 3. And he's as good as any shooter that Texas has on the ball club and may be their best shooter from range.
They were excited about Febris. He came in. Osikowski! There's the and one he was looking for.
Yeah, and that was created because of the fake dribble handoff, if you will. There really wasn't a dribble handoff because he still had his dribble. You see, that was almost like a football play. And the cut that Coleman made off the ball is what forced the defense to shift.
The leading scorer for Texas on the season now ties his teammate Kerwin Rhodes II for a game-high 12 points. Bray's 3rd foul. A very big moment. Osikowski calls his own number. Longhorns with the defense again swarming the ball, ricocheting off of Matt Coleman. It will stay.
These are critical moments here as we approach the 10-minute mark. And you can count on it that this Texas Tech team, they're going to fight and try to get back into it.
Josh Webster was to inbound the ball. He will be substituted out. Coming back in will be Keenan Evans, checking in as well. Naeem Stevenson. Coleman will sit down. Kerwin Roach comes in. Davis, Osikowski, Febris, and Bamba on the floor for Texas.
And with Oyase going to the bench, Texas Tech is playing extremely small.
Francis with the push-off, no call, but Texas with the defense at the rim. Davis on the run-out will pull it back.
Right decision there. Don't have to force anything.
Febres was trying to get the entry pass to Bamba, but Bamba draws the foul, and that will take us to break. It was Dylan Osikowski, the leading scorer on the season for Texas. Drives, dunks, and one. Texas leading 45-32. Welcome back to the Irwin Center, Austin, Texas. Longhorns trying to knock off a top 10 team. They currently lead 45-32, 11:58 to play in the second half. Texas Tech, 8th in the country, 15-2 record coming in, 4-1 in Big 12 play. They already went up to Lawrence, knocked off the Jayhawks, their first win ever in Lawrence, Kansas. They're coming off a win over #2 West Virginia, that in Lubbock, Texas. So it's been a very good season thus far. This would be a big one for Texas, but Lance, you have mentioned it. This is a very pivotal time. Can Texas continue to keep that lead and carry it over, finish the ball game?
Well, that's the question that they have to answer. They've got to be able to close games out. We know that most of the games in this conference are going to be a battle down the stretch. It's just an area,
Smith with the jumper from the elbow.
an area that Texas has to prove if they want to raise their level and standing in this conference.
Red Raiders have 2 come from behind wins. They were down 11 against West Virginia, came back against Nevada as well. 2 of their better wins on the year thus far. Defense creates the turnover, run out, blocked by Bamba.
Well, we've seen that a few times
He thought
tonight.
about it.
Yeah, where a guy has turned the ball over, and then Texas has done the right thing defensively to make up for the mistake.
From Mo Bamba thus far, he's averaging 4.4 on the year, second in the NCAA.
I mean, this is 2 different teams on the floor in terms of size. Look at the size difference that Texas has over Tech.
Evans put it on the deck and does draw the whistle. Let's go back and look at that 4th block of the night from Bamba.
Bamba just with the excellent timing, not giving up the easy layups. And the only chance you have there as an offensive player is to go dunk that ball.
Foul was on Eric Davis Jr., his second of the contest. Texas with just 3 team fouls.
Well, again, pivotal time because you got Sims, who has exceptional leaping ability, as good as any in the nation.
3 from the corner is good.
But you have no Bamba on the floor to make up for those mistakes from a shot blocking standpoint. And Sims can block shots, but just doesn't have the length, obviously, that a Mo Bamba does.
Jarrett Culver now with 12 points. Texas Tech started 2 for 2 from behind the arc in the contest. They're 3 of 16 since. Got a big 3 from Culver. Step back, rebounded by Kerwin Roach.
Offensive rebounds, those can be killers.
Turned over by Texas. Evans on the run out will draw the foul on Matt Coleman.
So you had 3 turnovers in a row, essentially, is what created Texas Tech having a chance to get right back in the game.
Well, Lance, to your point, it was 15 turnovers against Oklahoma State. They scored 19 points off of that. 18 turnovers against TCU. It's been something that has plagued Texas as of recent, turning the ball over. Evans at the line. Mentioned Evans second in free throws attempted in the Big 12. This is the guy that they have kept quiet thus far.
Yeah, that's because he has the ball in his hands so much. I mean, he is the offense for this team in terms of either creating it or scoring the ball himself.
Registers his 6th point of the night, averages 17.5. Little pressure being brought by the Red Raiders. Texas breaks it. 6-0 run over the last 2 minutes for Texas Tech. Off the glass, toilet bowls around, tried to tap it out, but the rebound controlled by Zaire Smith.
Yeah, essentially that was an isolation where I guess Roach felt like he had the look to score. That's a gift that Texas Tech gave the Texas. I mean, Texas Tech had a chance to close the lead to 5.
Just a quick rest for Mo Bamba. Sims sits down, Bamba back in.
And you know, at the under 10 mark, it's a different game than the first 30 minutes, and that's where Texas has to be. This is where Texas has to be able to execute.
So Osakowski, Texas did find a good look there, but just Karam's out. Bamba amongst 4 Red Raiders couldn't come up with the rebound. Evans on the dribble, goes off the glass, but the whistle blown will go to the line. So you now see the senior Keenan Evans finding a way to put some points on the board, at least getting the opportunity from the free throw strike.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Osakowski 3, and it was a good, clean look, and I'm not suggesting you shouldn't take those. But against this roster, you don't have to take those. See what happens here. Coleman steps on. Oh,
looked like that left elbow.
Left elbow. Whoa.
Coleman in the face.
Yeah, he took a pretty good shot.
Evans
tough kid.
Going up. This was one you circled, Lance, that matchup between the freshman Matt Coleman and the senior Keenan Evans to be pivotal to decide this one. We'll talk more about that. 45-38, 8:55 left.
We are the Coors Brewing Company.
Who was the first?
Oh, I don't know. He's so humble. I think he was the guy. I mean, he's a star now. We both went to McCullough High School in the Woodlands. Chris Beard, I'm a little bit older. I won't say how much. Very humble young man. We text every now and again and stay in touch. And he loves his coaches. Of course, he had Mike Kunstad because he transferred from Irving High School up in the Dallas area to the Woodlands and was coached by Terry Priest. That man right there meant a lot to both of us. Coach Terry Priest, who coached at McCullough High School for so many years, is now, I think, non-existent. It's the Woodlands High School, but we respect Coach Priest so much. And
the house that Lance Blanks built?
Well, I'd say the house that Coach Priest built.
All right, there you go.
I got to keep it for a couple of years, but Coach Priest is, I know he's meant a lot to Coach Beard's career.
8-0 run for Texas Tech as Evans cashed both in from the foul line. It's become a 5-point game. Lance, you preempted it. Texas turning the ball over. That 10-minute mark has been the Achilles heel as of late. Tech has turned up the defense.
Yeah, and I didn't want to create it for Texas, but we've seen the pattern. Texas just managed to lose a level of focus after that 10-minute mark. But guess what? You're still up 5, 8:15 to go in the game. All is not lost.
It's been a 4-minute scoring drought now for Texas. What do you want to see on the offensive end?
Well, I'd love to see Texas get stuff around the rim. This is where they've done so well this game. Looks like they went back.
You put that one out there, and you got it for them.
You put it out. You inferred it. But seriously, I mean, you've got such a size advantage. You've got to look to get things done around the rim. Texas now in the zone. They're going to force Tech to have to go over the top.
And Francis has done that repeatedly throughout the game. The Texas coaching staff was concerned about Brandon Francis coming off that season high against West Virginia with 17. He nails the three-pointer there, 6th on the contest for Texas Tech, a 4-point game.
You got to find Francis early. You don't want him to get too hot. They found a guy who they can run some offense through.
Bamba challenging that one, but the benefactor Texas Sims coming up with the rebound. The whistle goes against Stevenson. We have ourselves a ball game here in Austin. It is a slugfest in Big 12 play. Mo Bamba Acing the Texas Longhorns with his 12 points. Brandon Francis on the other end, 13 for the Red Raiders. Seen that from Mo Bamba and Texas Tech with their ball pressure and turning teams over. That's how they've gotten back into this one.
Well, yeah, and you see it there with the 13 points off of turnovers. You explained that perfectly. Those live ball turnovers that Texas was getting back in and knocking balls out and keeping them from scoring. Well, that shifted because now those live ball turnovers are turning into points for Texas Tech. But again, you're up 4.
Roach at the free throw line. And you talk about coaches. When we talked with Coach Beard earlier today, he had Nick Saban's book with him. He said, that's my guy. He likes to study coaches, and not just coaches, college football coaches. He said, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but the identity of this team, they hang their hat on defense. That's where it all starts. Probably something that Coach Saban would be very proud of. You see Texas defensively now, they've gone to the zone look.
Oh, yeah, and coaches like doing that with defense because it's something that you can get every single night.
Called for the foul.
And you don't know if you're going to make shots. There will be nights and days when you aren't making shots, but you can apply yourself defensively, night in and night out with the effort, and that's quite obvious with this Texas Tech ball club.
So a shooting foul sends Zaire Smith to the line. Texas is in the bonus. 16 fouls on the Longhorns. So Red Raiders not quite there yet. These two teams 9th and 10th. 9th for the Red Raiders in free throw shooting percentage. And Texas 10th in the conference. The full court pressure stays.
Yeah, and this is a little bit different look.
Loose ball, Roach goes on the floor. Great hustle, he'll get the timeout.
Well, yeah, and Tech, it took the words out of my mouth, Texas Tech, in that I would look at Coach Beard. He's out on the court. Wow, we got to take a break. Wow.
When you live in a city with the best of everything, you expect the best. Especially in those critical moments when you need it the most. It's why we've built an emergency care network that's ready around the clock, with more locations, less wait time, and the highest quality care. That's the care you expect and deserve. St. David's Emergency Care. The best is here.
Well, Lance, it took the words right out of your mouth. Texas Tech cranking up the press.
I was going to ask who's going to blink first. And here you'll see Culver fakes like he's going back and comes with the little soft double team. And I felt like Roach, he panicked a little and rushed himself. If nothing else, all you have to do is take a release dribble, survey the land, find your help, and pass the ball. I can assure you the next possession like that, Coleman will have the ball in his hand.
Davis Jr. was a 4-point lead, a huge three-pointer. He has come on in the new year, the junior, scoring phenomenally, none bigger than that one. Francis tries to answer back. Osakowski with the rebound.
Well, yeah, that's the kind of plays that you're going to need here down the stretch to close the game out.
Osakowski wanted to go up top on the oop for Bamba, but the whistle blown foul on the floor.
Well, you gotta like how Davis just stepped right in and shot that ball confidently. And Tyler, as we talk about, and as we approach now to get closer to the 5-minute mark, it's about making plays. Yes, the coaches have to put the players in position to make plays, but the players have to execute those plays. That's what Davis did with that 3. But the rest of the way, again, Texas Tech's going to come at you. They're used to winning on most nights, particularly in close ball games. So Texas has got to make good, sound plays here down the stretch.
Bamba makes the first, misses the second. The lead to 8. Holding the Red Raiders under 40. The dunk, Zaire Smith.
Well, Texas there was in a man. The reason that happened is you have a much larger Mo Bamba guarding Zaire Smith. Look, I mean, there's a huge size difference, and there's no rim protection because the rim protector is out guarding a guard in Smith. Smith makes the right decision. Here we are again with that press. You want to see if you can get this ball in Coleman's hands.
Texas breaks the press. Osakowski tied up. It was deflected out of bounds. It will be side out of bounds for Texas. 19 on the shot clock.
No, as Texas Tech applies the pressure, Texas still has to look to run offense and try to score.
When it's been ball movement and player movement that's got their last two looks, the three going back to Davis and then the free throws for Bamba. Texas turning it over yet again. Now 13 turnovers on the contest.
And Texas stays in their man in spite of the last drive by Zaire with the layup.
In and out for Keenan Evans. The Red Raiders will get another chance. It was a nice save. Whistle blown. Foul is on the floor.
And again, Texas has to string big play execution together. This is what I call want to. You just have to muster a desire, a greater desire than your opponent to come up with rebounds, to come up with loose balls, 50-50 balls and the like. Right now, at this juncture of the game, Texas Tech is winning that part of the battle.
Bonus now for Texas Tech. 17th foul on the Longhorns, third on Matt Coleman. Mentioned it. Second to last in the Big 12 in free throw shooting, 70.1% of the Red Raiders. Texas is last at 65%, although their free throw shooting has come on as of late. It has been much better. Something to keep your eye on down the stretch here. 5-point ball game under 5 minutes. Texas has won 21 consecutive games over Texas Tech here in Austin. The ball tapped loose. Osakowski trying to recover. He does. Texas 3-on-2. Roach in. Lays it off the glass.
Right play to attack. That created a 3-on-2 possession. They just turned it into a mini fast break.
Osakowski and Justin Gray exchanging words back on that side. So after the ball was deflected, Osakowski went to the ground. Gray had chased him. Play goes down to the other end on the offensive side. Texas scores with Roach, but a little extracurricular there, and that's now, believe what, in the center court.
Yeah, it just shows.
Protecting the turf.
Yeah, the intensity of this game. In fact, Coach Beard, he came all the way out to center court.
So no harm, no foul, basket counts. So it just goes down as dramatic play. Fans to their feet.
Well, what I want to know is what happens after the stoppage of play, because that can be a momentum shifter, and often is in terms of impacting the game. You stop for 2 or 3 minutes.
Osakowski with the contest on that one. The whistle on the ground. Bamba had position, and Odiase will pick up the foul. He's been in foul trouble all night. He's their physical presence on the floor. That is his fourth.
Well, yeah, and Odiase has had his hands full. It's because he's giving up several inches in height and length. But also Kerwin Roach did a very nice job of playing fundamental basketball and boxing out.
So Texas in the double bonus. Roach will shoot 2. And Lance, I mentioned their free throw shooting. First 11 games of the year, Texas shooting 61.4% from the stripe. But in their last 6 games, 73.5. It's been a much better improvement. They're 72.7 in Big 12 play. Kerwin Roach now 17. And he's been a guy that has improved dramatically at the free throw line.
Well, I think every year in multiple categories and ways, Kerwin Roach has just gotten better and better.
Beautiful drive. Zaire Smith, seen it a couple times. Isolated on Mo Bamba. He goes baseline there and drops it in. A 7-point contest. Texas looking to knock off a top 10 opponent.
Come on in for a chorizo taquito with cheese. It's only here.
When it comes to the world's most refreshing beer, 21 means 21. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
There was the look we talked about earlier, the assist from Coleman to Bamba. Bamba, 13 points on the contest, 8 rebounds, 4 blocks. A tight one here in Austin. 3:57 left to go. Tyler Denning, Lance Blanks. Red Raiders have not won in Austin since 1996. It's been 21 consecutive victories for Texas in this series. Team split last year. Texas won here. Red Raiders in Lubbock. Texas ended the Red Raiders season in the Big 12 tournament. And a good defensive battle.
That is the battle for these two ball clubs. Defense is what gets it done. Roach giving up on the play, I thought.
Some contact there on the drive. 5 on the shot clock. Davis!
I think, is he checking to see if it was a...
We're going to look and see if it's a 3 or a 2, I believe.
I think that was clearly a 3.
Pretty close, but it does look like it was a 3 from Eric Davis. We saw that, though, Lance, in that TCU game, in that first half against Oklahoma State. Davis, that confidence is back. He's making some tough shots.
Oh, yeah, he's all the way back. I mean, he's a different... Again, we're seeing shades of the old, what I call the old new Eric Davis. And not only knocking down shots, the timeliness of knocking them down.
Mentioned it earlier. He said it's his maturity, and that maturity came through his struggles last year, his struggles with injury. Had a great conversation with him yesterday. He'd said he'd never encountered adversity, true adversity, in his basketball career up until that point, but he said that his teammates have had confidence in him. The coaching staff has had confidence in him, told him to keep being him, and it's obviously showing in the results.
Well, I want to add to that. I think I've watched him and watched the confidence rise, if you will. I think it's something else that's added to his recent success, and it's a benefit to him and the coaches. He's almost been forced to play because there haven't been as many options, and so he's had to step up given the circumstances, and he's answered the call.
Evans answering the call there, right off the dribble.
When you see Texas Tech getting these layups, they're either drive-bys when the bigs end up on guards.
Texas turns it over on the inbounds. Evans swinging the ball around, thought he may pull the trigger. Francis on the drive goes out of bounds. So Texas will dodge one there on the turnover on the inbounds. Lance, they've had an answer every time Texas Tech has pushed, but it's been the turnovers that's kept the Red Raiders in it.
Well, and Texas has fed them some of those answers with the turnovers, just untimely.
13 points off turnovers. They get it into Bamba. Coleman up off the glass and in. Lead back to 10.
Well, good job. I think Texas has done a nice job. Every time they've had fast break opportunity, they've made the right decision in terms of playing aggressive and attacking the rim.
Evans with the quick shot. So one of the best in the Big 12, this senior, third leading scorer. Coleman called for the carry.
Well, I didn't see that. Oh, yeah, it was right call. Right call.
So 14 turnovers now on the night. Red Raiders have scored 13 points. Francis going to his left. Bamba there to bother him. Osikowski with the rebound.
Yeah, credit Bamba Francis tried to squirt that up. Nothing there.
Coleman dribbles through. Texas wise to pull it out. Kill some clock.
Absolutely, but don't quit playing.
With the dunk.
You don't want to quit playing. You gotta stay aggressive.
He saw his opportunity and took it. Kerwin Roach back into the game. Bamba with his 5th block. Davis wants it himself, takes it in. Foul called. So Texas having numbers. Roach, he saw an opportunity and he goes straight to the rack.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a clear lane. The right play by Roach. And how about the way this Texas ball club is finishing this game, not giving up anything around the rim. Bamba continues his domination around the defensive rim with the block.
Roach got his junior season started off with a dunk over his mom. If you remember, going all the way back.
I do. I remember that.
One of the most exciting dunkers across all of college basketball. Kerwin Roach with that left hand injury. We weren't even sure up until right before tip-off if Roach would be able to go. He's given the green light, and boy, has he delivered.
Well, and for those who've been critical of Texas, it's hard to get wins, especially in this Big 12.
In this Big 12, both these teams and all the Big 12 teams will get a minor reprieve with that Big 12 SEC challenge. You saw mixed in there for Texas. They'll play against Ole Miss, but look at this. You see Kansas, that doesn't make sense. They're ranked 10th. They're atop the conference. Oklahoma's 4th. They're in 4th place.
Yeah, well, I mean, and everyone has conceded that this is the toughest conference. So when you get in the conference, I mean, even Iowa State, if they were to beat Kansas or TCU, beating or losing to Kansas State, I mean, any given night.
Ask Oklahoma. They go on the road, they lose to Kansas State.
Absolutely.
It is grueling, rugged, top to bottom.
Yeah, and this conference has no forgiveness.
Texas has extended their lead. It got close. But Lance, you had brought up the point. Would Texas have the answer? Tech ratcheted up the pressure. Longhorns were turning it over, but they've responded to the call. Look at that. In the second half, Texas shooting 61%.
Well, and credit Davis making the big shots, the timely big shots.
Roach turns it over. The Culver was fouled by Coleman. Beyond the ground. His 4th foul for Matt Coleman.
And I know it's just a simple play, and Roach has had just an excellent comeback game from the injury, but I mean, he knows you've got to have a sense of focused urgency about you down the stretch of games. It's just not acceptable, especially when things are unforced. You know, there's no pressure that's necessarily being applied.
Well, Matt, a point of concern as we just looked at the schedule there. Culver shooting the 1-and-1. It wasn't a shooting foul. So he makes the first, misses the second. But if you're going to go up against a West Virginia, that's a team that likes to turn you over. It's been a great test against Texas Tech, one of the best teams defensively. But Texas needs to clean up those turnovers.
Yeah, and Gray fouls out. His hands were full all night, you know, with the big size difference. But he'll be back. I mean, this is a very good Texas Tech ball club. That's a good player in Gray. What he offers is Texas Tech ball club.
Lance, offensively from Bamba tonight, obviously you know what you get on the defensive end. I heard you in the pregame show, but it seemed like the motor and what he was trying to do offensively picked up a little bit. He seems to be getting a little more comfortable. Am I seeing that right?
Well, I think tonight he showed a lot of that comfort, and I think his teammates, namely Coleman, did a very good job of feeding him in position where he could execute around the rim and use his length to finish.
Under a minute to go. Texas leading by 13, looking to make it now 22 straight and to continue the Macarena trend. So next time that Texas Tech comes back, Be since 1996, the Red Raiders have not won here in Austin.
I'm glad you told me that because, you know, I was driving over today just thinking.
Listening to the Macarena?
I wasn't listening, but I was just thinking, you know, I wonder what the top song was in 1996.
Well, there you go. Now you have it.
And you had it, and I was impressed by that.
We knew that this was going to be a great defensive game. Texas with an opportunity to knock off a top 10 team, really get a signature win. They've beaten Butler, they've beaten Alabama, TCU, but this is a very good team. What did you see from Texas tonight that was maybe different from the rest of the year thus far?
Well, I saw that they didn't implode down the stretch. What we saw in the first 30 minutes, we've seen versions of this. Obviously, there was the potential win against Duke, where they lost in overtime, and then they had the great game against Gonzaga in terms of a comeback. So we've seen many different versions of this Texas team. The one that's been a little concerning is the one that's imploded in some of these conference games and other games beyond the 10-minute mark. And tonight, I saw a team make aggressive plays less than 10 minutes on the clock and finish a game, quite honestly.
Coleman pulled up there with 15 on the shot clock, but the Longhorns will put this one in the books. A huge win in Big 12 play. Evans pass off short. They stopped him all night, third leading scorer, and the crowd letting him have it.
Well, Texas Tech certainly didn't embarrass themselves. This is a great team. They're having to come on the road and play against a very tough Texas team as they get their second loss in conference play. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. The winning team in the conference will probably lose at least 3 games, if not more.
Texas Tech 5th in the country and holding opponents to 60.8 points per game, but Texas getting their first win against an AP top 10 team going back to February of 2016 as they put up 67 against Texas Tech. It was a balanced effort as well.
Yeah, it was. You had several guys step up.